Welcome to It Is Written Canada. Thank you for joining us. God himself gave Adam a companion. He provided an helpmeet for him, a helper corresponding to him, one who was fitted to be his companion and who could be one with him in love and sympathy.
Eve was created from a rib taken from the side of Adam, signifying that she was not to control him as the head, nor to be trampled under his feet as an inferior, but to stand by his side as an equal, to be loved and protected by him.
According to marriage researcher Dr. John Gottman in his book, The 7 Principles for Making Marriage Work, the determining factor for the happiness of marriage for both men and women was the quality of the couple's friendship.
Marlon and Doreen Cliff are a special guest on It Is Written Canada today. They are certified Gottman educators for the 7 Principles for Making Marriage Work, certified Prepare Enrich facilitators, Caring for the Heart Ministries lay counselors, and marriage wellness coaches.
Doreen and Marlon, thank you for joining us on It Is Written Canada today.
It's our pleasure to be here.
Yes, good to be here.
So, talk about what is good that's happening in good relationships.
Intimacy, into me, see. And that requires being vulnerable and taking a risk to opening up to each other and creating that safe space to be able to do that.
So intimacy, you said into me sees. You've taken that word intimacy and turned it into 3 words. So I'm thinking about that. Who allows you to see into me as me? Mm-hmm. So you're right. I mean, creating that safe place. I have to feel safe in order to allow you to see into me.
Yes.
Okay, and that's more than just sexual intimacy. We're talking about intimacy on who I really am. Yes. And that's much more vulnerable.
Yeah, emotional intimacy is probably the most vulnerable, and looking into your heart.
Doreen and Marlon, can you tell us what the 3 ingredients or the 3 key ingredients are to creating this intimacy, a safe space, and even a friendship?
Yeah, so the 3 ingredients for creating a friendship and intimacy, well, the first one is I know you. And this is building a love map of your internal world of your partner. So I really know everything about you and I understand you, what you're thinking, what you're feeling, so that I can then meet those needs. So when we go out for dinner, I know, hey, where you want to go.
The second component of friendship is I love you. So sharing that fondness and admiration and what you appreciate about your partner.
And the third ingredient of building a strong friendship is I'm here for you. And this is turning towards instead of turning away. And those bids for connection that are constantly being made maybe dozens of times per day that maybe we miss.
So those 3 key components of intimacy, friendship, a safe place are I know you, I love you, and I'm here for you. Just want to kind of repeat those. So I know you, you said that it's about making love maps. So talk to us about that. What is making a love map? I mean, if I say I know you, well, I married my wife, so I know her. Right. It just ends there, right? Like I know her, so it's all right. I mean, why do I have to continue to do this?
Yeah, so when we first meet and we're creating those love maps, over time, they change. So, for example, my wife's favorite food was Italian when we got married. And now it's Moroccan, and it changes every 6 months. She wants to try something new and adventurous, so I'm constantly having to update those love maps. It's just creating an internal map in my mind of what she likes and what she dislikes.
Yeah, at the beginning of our relationship, we were very curious about each other. We asked these open-ended questions, what kind of food do you like? Where do you want to go for travel? How do you want to get there? Do you want to take the train? Do you want to fly? Do you want to take the bus? All these how, what, when questions, which we're not able to just give a yes or no answer. We're giving a story. So we're really good at being storytellers, really, when we're exploring our love maps at the very beginning of our relationship. But over time, our conversations become kind of logistical, like who's going to drop off the kids, who's going to make dinner, who's going to start the laundry tonight. And it just comes about, more of a strategic kind of relationship about who's going to do what. So it's getting back into really knowing what is my husband's desire? What are his dreams? What are his worries? What are his fears? And asking those questions to really see within his heart and see his emotional wellness. Where is it at? What makes him happy? What makes him sad? And having those deep conversations and allowing the other person to tell the story. So many times we're like, okay, that's enough. Just get to the point, right? And we stop the storytelling. We stop the other person from telling the story because we want to just get to the point. Hurry, we've got to do this. So learning to be storytellers again and learn, about each other's world.
Tell us a little bit about nurturing fondness and admiration, which is the second ingredient, which is I love you.
So a lot of times we slip into a negative perspective and we start looking at what's wrong or what needs to be fixed. When we're first dating, we naturally are saying thank you, and it was a beautiful meal, so thank you for making that. It tasted so amazing. We're naturally expressing that fondness and admiration. But over time, this starts to erode, and we start to see some of those negative things which we start to focus on. So really, we need to start to change our focus to start searching and looking for what's right.
Yes, there's something called a reticular activating response, where what we see is what we focus on. So for example, if I buy a red car, I notice all the red cars as I'm driving down the road. So sometimes our focus can be for that negative bent or negative perspective, and that when that's all we focus on, that's all we see. So changing the focus is so key to noticing, oh, you know what? He's an amazing hockey player. He gets all of the sportsmanlike awards, the high goal scoring award, but I never say, you know what, I'm proud of you. I really appreciate your athleticism and how the kids really see how perseverance pays off and your commitment to the sport and so on. So you're speaking about something that Marlon does, I am, but I'm also talking about his character that's displayed within that. So focusing on the character and appreciating that is so important.
So tell me about maybe a practical little exercise that a couple could do to nurture fondness and admiration.
Yes.
So one of the things we do is we have the couples write down on a list, make a list. Just start off, pick three characteristics that you admire and appreciate. We actually give them a list of words of characteristics that they can actually look at so they can actually identify, because sometimes we get out of practice and we have a hard time even recognizing. So we go through the list and check off 3 and then describe when that characteristic was displayed and give an example of that. So not only you're expressing the fondness and admiration, you're now backing it up with an example to make it even more real and to drive the point home. So, okay, so it really sinks home.
It does, and you start to engage and practice that storytelling in the process. I remember when you displayed this characteristic, and I really appreciated that. Yes. So it's important to really pay attention to our thoughts. What are we focusing on? Are we focusing on what we appreciate or what bothers us about that person?
Marlon and Doreen, we've heard you say that the third component of friendship in marriage is vital, and that is turning towards each other instead of turning away or against each other. Can you tell us a little bit about this third component that is so vital?
It is very vital. And this is what we see when we work with couples, that is a missing link. Fondness and admiration is super important to create that positive perspective in the relationship. But turning towards each other, this is what creates trust in a relationship. And if we're not turning towards each other's needs, our desires, our bids for adventure, whatever it may be, then really distrust starts to develop in the relationship. And we'll hear couples say, I don't trust my husband, or I don't trust my wife, but there's been no big betrayal, but I don't understand why I don't trust. So as we start to unpack and discover there's no turning towards each other, then we identify, okay, what do you need each other to turn towards each other in your life? And then we're like, oh, then they are like, yes, that's exactly it. It's pinpointed where the distrust is coming from. This is so key for creating emotional connection. And this is often where that emotional disconnect happens in relationships.
So those bids for connection, when I think of a bid, I think of like an auctioneer, like give me 10, give me 10. Oh, 10 over there, there's a bid, right? Mm-hmm. Or give me 20, right? There's a bid. So what are these bids for emotional connection? What do they look like?
Mm-hmm. It's an attempt to make a connection, a positive interaction with you. So we make dozens of bids every day. So I mean, hey Mike, did you notice that beautiful flower as we're driving up here? I mean, it's a bid just to, hey, I'm interested in what you're saying. I'm interested in you as a person. So it's just constantly making those bids for connection.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I made a lot of bids for support in our relationship because I feel loved when Marlon does things for me. So I would say, oh, honey, I didn't get the garbage out. Would you mind taking it out? Or can you grab the laundry out of the room and put it in the laundry room so I can sort the colors, So I was making a lot of bids for support in our relationship because that is how I felt loved. Children, they rebid often. It's mommy, daddy, daddy, daddy.
Hey, I'm busy. I just have to finish this email. Just let me have 10 minutes.
And they'll come back, Daddy, come play ball with me.
I told you I'm busy. Can you just let me finish my work, okay?
And then they'll rebid again, Daddy, please.
Hey, I told you to stop bugging me. Go out and play, okay? Or go to your room because I just need to work, okay?
And then the child turns away sad, feeling rejection. And this was me. My children grew up seeing my back because I was busy, so busy doing other things, instead of turning towards them and really hearing what they're saying and acting what they wanted me to do with them or for them. Now, as adults, we don't rebid like that. We will rebid maybe once or twice, and honestly, I rebidded more than the average person, but when our bids aren't being turned towards, that turns into nagging as adults. So women are known for nagging. And I always say, okay, if we're turning towards each other, nagging will not exist in the relationship. And it's a real game changer for a lot of relationships. You realize, oh, and usually it's the men that are not turning towards. And the women are the ones that are being critical and expressing. And some women just stop. They get to the point where they feel like, I'm never turned towards, I'm just not going to ask anymore. And then communication stops. So learning how to turn towards is just crucial in relationships.
So she would make a bid for support, helping her do some taking out the garbage, changing a light bulb, and those kind of things. But I would make a bid for spending some quality time. So, yes. Hey, honey, you just want to come snuggle on the couch? And my wife would say, I'm too busy. I have to get dinner made. Or, hey, you want to go for a walk around the field? And
I would say, do you want to eat or do you want to go for a walk? Right?
And for me, actually, the spending time was actually more important, going for a walk and connecting. Mm-hmm. But to her, it was more important to finish making dinner and get everything done for the family and get everything ready. So my bids were a lot of focused around, just come snuggle. Let's just spend some time on the couch, some us time.
And I would turn against him because then he would do the same, right? It was like, you kill my cat, I'll kill your dog kind of mentality. So we just stopped turning towards each other, and then that emotional chasm just kept getting wider and wider and deeper.
We talk about a study that was done in Canada of how much time are couples actually turning towards each other every week, and it turns out to be 35 minutes a week. And that actually turning towards each other, not just getting things done, but actually turning towards each other, face-to-face communication, and having these deep, intimate conversation, 35 minutes a week, and that's very little. So what about, like, I'm talking about meal time? Is that an important time when we can actually take that time? Because we're eating anyway. So doing that, how does that affect turning towards or turning away?
Yeah, so mealtime, many families do not spend time eating together anymore. It's not what we call a ritual connection or a love habit anymore within the family unit. And there's many things that we call relationship leaks, where there are these leaks that get in the way of this turning towards each other and this spending time together. So you're right. Mealtime is something that just doesn't happen together as a family.
Sometimes I think it's, we saying, you need to make those bids, and I think sometimes it might be difficult, correct me if I'm wrong, Marlon, with the coaching that the two of you are doing. Sometimes it's difficult for a guy to pick up that bid. Sometimes we make it subtly, and it's not, they don't pick it up, it's not expressed, and so they miss it, and that might not be the intention to miss the bid.
So are you saying something about a bid that you've made that I've missed?
Well, say for instance, if I say to Mark, because I don't mind doing the laundry, but I don't like taking the laundry out and folding it. It's just, once it's dry, out of the dryer. But I don't mind the process of sorting and putting it in and putting it into the dryer, but I don't like taking it out and folding, because there's so many other things to do, because my language, like yours, Doreen, is very high on acts of service, and so there's always stuff to do.
That's right.
And so let's say, for instance, I would make a subtle bid like, did you hear, was that the buzzer that went off on the dryer?
Yeah. Would you like me to go and fold the laundry?
So that was very subtle, and yet you picked it up, but someone else might not pick up a bit as subtle as that, and might not hear it.
Because you've trained me very well.
Or sometimes we choose to ignore it, because why don't you just be direct with me and ask what you want? So it's actually sometimes when she was subtle, it would actually kind of irritate me. So okay, well, just ask if you want some. So I would ignore it. So if you ask me, so when you ask me, well, is that the buzzer? I would just ignore it. It's like, well.
Most men say, I want my wife to be direct with me, so that I am not missing the bid. So they have to have this conversation, because many couples are not aware of what bids look like in their relationship. They're missing them. And once they miss them, many times it's a lost opportunity, because then more distance is created within the relationship.
Or even you could turn against that bid. Yes, I heard the buzzer on the dryer. Would you go get up and get it? It's annoying me during the middle of the game.
Yeah, exactly. And discovering what turning against looks like. So in every relationship, turning against looks different. Turning away looks different. So having that heart-to-heart conversation to discover and uncover, what do bids look like in my relationship? And what does turning away from the bid look like? What does turning against? So often turning against, couples will say, is contempt, right? So they kind of go hand in hand here. So that's really important. So a bid could be as simple as, oh, look at the beautiful flower.
Yes, I love that.
Yeah.
It is
Or,
beautiful.
oh, we're driving in the car. Did you see that was a black swan on the pond? And by the time he turns or decides to turn, he missed the opportunity to turn towards the bid.
Or could you help me make dinner tonight?
Yes, it can look like many things. My shoes are so dirty. How do I get them white again? My white runners. So it could be so many different ways a bid can look like.
Can you tell us more about accepting that bid, but maybe accepting it enthusiastically instead of not being enthusiastic about the bid, because that can also create a problem, right? Create turning against in the end if you're not as enthusiastic.
And that actually happened in our relationship often.
A lot.
A lot. So for example, I would say, hey honey, hey, would you like to go for a hike in the mountains tomorrow? It's going to be really sunny and it'd be fun to go out.
Sure. Let's go.
Sure. So you don't sound like you really want to go.
Yes, let's go. You want to go? Let's go.
I know I want to go, but it doesn't sound like you want to go.
Yes, let's go.
Well, no, if you're going to have that attitude, I don't want to go.
You're so difficult.
Well, yeah. So you can see how I just didn't sense that she really wanted to go. Yeah, I'll go if you want to go, right? So she was not interested. So she wasn't very enthusiastically about that bid. So I guess at the end of the day, I really didn't want to go because sometimes you do it. You go out in the mountains and one person just are we done yet? Or you're not enjoying the time. So what's a better way of doing that, honey? That makes hey, honey, would you like to go for a hike tomorrow in the mountains? It's supposed to be really sunny and beautiful.
Oh yeah, it's supposed to be a great day. Let's go.
Okay, so what if we got about like 7 a.m. and we could get out there early before the traffic?
Oh, 7 a.m. It's our sleep-in day. Maybe could we leave at 9? Just sleep in a little longer?
Okay, why don't we do that? And then maybe we could take a lunch and we could eat on top of the mountain. That would be beautiful.
Yeah, what kind of sandwich would you like?
How about some peanut butter and honey sandwiches? Because you're the peanut butter that sticks us together.
Oh. Okay, I will make you your peanut butter and honey sandwich.
And then maybe on the way home, maybe we could go stop at your favorite restaurant in Canmore.
That would be wonderful. You know how much I love that place.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to this.
So what I'm seeing is a real high positivity to negativity ratio here. There's almost no negativity, and when that comes in, it dampens things. So positivity how high should it be? Kind of a final question. We're coming to the end of our time together.
So Gottman's share that if you, in a regular relationship or in a normal conversation or interactions, it should be 20 to 1. Okay. Positive interactions to negative interactions. And then even during conflict, if we can maintain that 5 to 1 ratio.
Even during conflict.
Even during conflict, to create that positivity, which I know is very hard, right? How can I be positive in that conflict? Yeah. But it's used to be simply, I could give a smile or an appropriate positive sense of humor.
Yes, or touch.
That works for me.
And just validating, that the person is being heard, that's sharing what they're saying, that, I understand how you could feel that way. We miss this validation, which is so key to learn to validate so each other feel like they're being heard and that what they're saying, that we're important to each other. When we first start dating, if you go on a date and that person doesn't ask you questions and doesn't want to get to know you, you feel like, oh, I'm not that important to them. So you probably aren't going to have a second date with them. But as our relationship matures, we can do the same thing and make each other feel unimportant in that way. Yeah.
Maybe we should never stop dating.
That's right.
Actually, that's in our relationship, that's what we said. We weren't very good at marriage for 24 years, but dating, we're awesome. And we're still dating, and we've been on a honeymoon for the last 10, 11 years, and we continue to have a date every week. It's awesome.
You have a date night every week?
Yes.
We do.
Did you hear that?
That's good. we'll take that up.
So, Marlon and Doreen, we've come to the end of our time together. But before we let you go, I wonder if you can pray for our viewers out there. There might be some of them that are struggling with these key components of really getting to know each other and affirming each other and appreciating each other, and even missing those bids and not turning towards each other and accepting influence from each other. So I wonder if you could pray for our viewers.
Yes. Dear Heavenly Father, we just want to pray for each of the viewers here today. And Lord, if they've become roommates and they're not necessarily turning towards each other, or they're not building that friendship by building love maps, or if they're not getting to express that fondness and admiration with each other, Lord, I just ask that you would just inspire them to turn towards and start expressing fondness and admiration towards each other.
And Lord, I just pray that you will help the couples that are in this place in their relationship where they maybe feel hopeless and they feel like they're at gridlock, and no matter what they try to do, they feel like it's just not working, that they will just take the chance to be vulnerable, to share their feelings and their needs, and to turn, just one of them, to turn towards the other and start a new journey of rebuilding friendship. We pray this in your name, amen.
Amen. Marlon and Doreen, thank you so very much for coming again and sharing with us on It Is Written Canada.
Oh, we really enjoyed our time here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Friends, we live in challenging times. Our lives are saturated by information, activities, and senseless expectations. So the stresses of life make healthy relationships more difficult to achieve and sustain. Our free offer for you is hope for today's families.
Husbands and wives, as well as parents and children and other family members, live under the same roof but tend to communicate poorly at best. Many want the stability of a strong family life but don't know how to attain it.
Hope for today's families will help you build strong relationships with those around you. Show how husbands and wives can draw closer emotionally, spiritually, financially, and intellectually.
And help you communicate more effectively, understand and heal the roots of violence, prevent distress and divorce, or live happily as a single person.
Before you go, we would like to thank all of you who have supported the ministry of It Is Written Canada with your prayers and financial contributions. Without your support, this television ministry could not have reached so many people for so many decades.
Yes, thank you. And we would like to invite you to follow us on Instagram and Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and also listen to our podcasts. And if you go to our website, you can see our latest programs.
Friends, to be honest, Jesus is offering you a life that is beyond our ongoing struggles with the pain, suffering, and sorrows of this life. We would like to recommend you open the Bible, where it is recorded that Jesus himself found his assurance to defeat the devil through the word of his Father when he declared, "It is written, man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds out of the mouth of God."